Now for your limiting reagent in stoic. Okay, our limiting reagent is going to be this question here, where we have 30 grams of oxygen is mixed with 10 grams of hydrogen to create water. Which reactant is in excess and by how much? Setting out here is key. The first thing you need to do, as always, is write an equation. You have oxygen, O2, plus hydrogen, H2, going to H2O. You have two hydrogens here, two oxygens here. We need to put a 2 here to balance it. Now you have 4 hydrogens. Need a 2 there as well. Now we have a balanced equation. We need to now work out what we have here. We have 30 grams of oxygen, 30 grams, and 10 grams of hydrogen here. How much of this is going to be produced? Number of moles of each reactant. Number of moles of O2 equals mass over molar mass equals 30 divided by 32. Because the molar mass is 32 because there's 2 oxygens in each one. And we also have number of moles of hydrogen equals 10 over 2, which will be 5 mole. This here will be, I'll just go get a calculator, give me 2 seconds. Alright, back here again, and what's it doing? Number of moles of this is 0.9375 mole. Alright, so now we have number of moles. We'll look and see which one is in excess. We have 2 moles, so they've had the moles of 2 reactants. Because we have the moles of 2 reactants, we need to find out which one's going to run out first, and we do that by looking at the mole ratio. So the number of moles of O2 over 1 equals number of moles of H2 over 2. For 0.3 equals 5 divided by 2, back here, sorry. And you have, that's 2.5, therefore this is going to be the limiting reagent. The number of moles of oxygen is going to tell you what is going to determine what is created and what's used. So this is the limiting reagent problem. This is the limiting reagent section of the problem. This is all you're doing. So that means H2 is in excess. Alright. By how much? That's what we need to work out now. To work out how much, we need to do another mole ratio using the actual moles of this to work out how much of this will be used. So, you do number of moles of O2 over 1 equals number of moles of H2 used over 2. Okay, because that's our ratios from at the top here. This one's going to work out how much is going to be actually used. That's what we want to find out. So our number of moles of O2 that we are using is this, because that's how much we have. To do 0.9375 equals number of moles of H2 used over 2. So therefore, to get number of moles of H2 used, we multiply this by 2, multiply by 2, and it is 1.875 mole. That tells us how much H2 is used. We want to know how much is in excess by, so how much is going to be left over. Well, we do number of moles of H2 used, number of moles of H2 to start with, take away how much will be used is how much is left. So therefore, what have we got? 5 take away 1.875. So this is how much we started with. This is how much we calculated was used. Will equal how much is left. So take 5 is 3.125 mole is H2 left. So now we have this much is left in mole. Let's convert that back into grams. So mass equals number of moles times molar mass equals 3.125 times 2, because it's the molar mass of hydrogen, equals 6.25 grams left. And that's your question. Now, we followed a basic principle here. We did 1, equation, 2, moles, 3, limiting reagent, because we had 2 reactants. Because we're given 2 reactants, we could do a limiting reagent. 4, we used limiting reagent in a ratio. 5, we did what the question asked us to do and worked out how much was left over. To do that, we had to find out how much was used at the start by doing a ratio. If you don't understand this, go back and follow it again. Look at what I've written down, okay? Because it's a relatively large question, okay? But broken down into sections and writing down what you're actually finding out will help you a lot, okay? We've also got these things here that you can look at, which is exactly the same as what I've written down here. Write an equation for the reaction. Calculate the number of moles for as much as you can. If you're given 2 reactants, calculate the number of moles for both reactants, because that means you're going to need to find the limiting reagent. Okay? Use that limiting reagent in a mole ratio for the substance you need. So for this one, the substance I needed to find out was the in excess, which was the hydrogen. And I used the mole ratio of the limiting reagent, oxygen, to find out how much of this was used. And then I just did it. Alright? As always, learn to love your equations. Mass is always in grams, volumes in litres. Alright? We'll do another example. I don't know when, but yeah. There's still more there you can do. Have a crack at them yourself and yeah, have fun.